Jonathon, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about medical assisted dying legislation and where we're at. It's about as new as it gets. Subject to, well, Suzana's is more new, but yours is about as new as it gets in terms of legislative changes. And tell us a little bit what's happened, what we can now expect, and then of course Deby can maybe take us to some of the resources that already exist in the LexisNexis tool.
Well, if you're talking about history, it's about as new as it gets. So we'll start with a little bit of background. This all came about when the Supreme Court of Canada released the decision in Carter in Canada in 2015 that found that a competent adult's response to a grievous or irremediable condition is a matter critical to their dignity and autonomy. So that led to legislative changes, amendments to the criminal code that came about very quickly in 2016. So the original legislation as it came out in 2016 created eligibility requirements for MAID, for medical assistance in dying. And generally speaking, those eligibility requirements were that you had to be eligible or just about eligible for health services funded by the government of Canada. You had to be 18. You had to be able to make decisions on your own behalf with respect to your health. You had to voluntarily request medical assistance in dying free of external pressures. You had to give informed consent. And most importantly, that you had to have a grievous and irremediable medical condition. So then the legislation goes on and defines what is this grievous and irremediable medical condition. And they talk about serious and incurable illness, disease, or disability. They talk about an advanced state of irreversible decline in capability, that it has to be an enduring physical or psychological suffering that is intolerable. And then lastly, that their natural death has become reasonably foreseeable. And it's that last provision that sort of has triggered the next round of changes, because in 2019, in a Quebec decision, the court found that the requirement for the natural death to be reasonably foreseeable to be unconstitutional.